Let's try this again. So this video is for you if you are an existing business owner, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're very good at a particular service, and you're wanting to bring that into federal government contracting to win government contracts. Sounds good? Today, for y'all, we're going to talk about old rule, sad face. And old rule, sad face symbolizes the biggest mistake that existing small business owners make when they come into the federal government contracting space that causes them to spend a lot of energy, resources, time, and then burn out, get cynical, and say that this space is crap. It's not crap. Whether you're existing or new, you can come in and start winning contracts in less time than you would think. But the cynical mind takes over when you do either the right things at the wrong time or just the wrong things, which is really what we're talking about. So we're talking about old rule, sad face. And so what this old rule is that existing small business owners make when they come in, it's an assumption. It starts off as an assumption. And it's because, this is an MP, I guess. It's because you're so good at what you do. So I get it. I understand. But you're bringing in You're bringing in a knife to a gunfight. You're playing checkers when you should be playing chess. You're just never going to win. It's not your fault. You just need to strategy up, do the right things. Okay, this is the wrong thing to do. So because you're so good, there we go. And what you do, you make an assumption that the government buys what you offer. Okay, the service, whatever it is, a supply. And you're also making an assumption about how they buy it. So in another video, I gave an example of like car detailing. Does the government buy detailing services? Sure, but maybe not nearly as much as you think, at least in the federal government, maybe more on the county or state levels. Like we just don't know. Or maybe the government's using their own employees to fulfill this, right? There's a number of things that can be going on here in this greater like pie chart where people say, oh, the government buys everything. Sure, but what and how more specifically? If you're assuming that the government's buying it the way that you're currently providing it in your business, in your existing commercial-based business of 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to be in a world of hurt. This is a very different customer. They have very different needs, very different preferences. You do not get to come in and just tell them how it's going to be and just, hey, I've got my RFP sheet that I quote all day on and I'll just submit a government contract using, no, they'll throw you out. They won't even look at what you put together. Sorry. So we don't want to make assumptions about the what or the how, because that's the old rules. But what is like this old rule? 2. The old rule is being a specialist over being a generalist. This is what gets you. Because what did you have to do to be successful in the commercial space? You had to be a specialist. I'll give you an example of this. You have somebody coming out or multiple companies coming out to look at your roof. You had your house for 20 years. You built it brand new, and now it's time to get your roofing replaced, your roof replaced, right? It's going to cost you 20 grand or something like that. I don't know. Who would you rather work on your roof? A company that does roofs. That's all that they do. They're family owned. They've been doing it for 3 generations now. Now the grandkids have taken it over, and they just do roof, and they're very well known in the area. Or would you rather more of like a GC, a general contractor, to come in? He'll find a roofing company for you, but he does lots of other things, right? He does, he subs out electrical, he subs out mechanical, plumbing, like whatever you name it. He does basements, he does ground clearing, all this sort of stuff. Who would you rather put your roof on? Maybe not the best example just because there's going to be an extra cut, but assuming there's not like a middleman price in there for him to be the GC, who would you rather? The person that does all these different things or the person that's been doing this very deeply for like 3 generations? Probably the former, right? Probably the company that does roofing for 100 years, you're going to want to do your roof rather than the generalist. You had to learn this. You had to get, maybe you started out being general, in your existing business, but then, hey, you know what? We're at the 80-20 rule. Like 20% of our services what we're offering is bringing in 80% of the profit. We're going to triple down on whatever that thing is. So you go from being like super wide like this to like much more narrow. It's not a straight line. Narrow, straight line, okay? I don't know, guys. Then you try to bring this to the government. You try to bring this very narrow thing over to the government, making the assumption of what and how, a very specific service, very narrowly, and then when it doesn't work out in your favor, you want to get cynical. You kind of get where I'm going with this? Because I get it. It's the commercial space is still that way. It's still like the riches are in the niches. But government contracting, the US federal government, they care about different things, right? They care more about a company that's mission oriented and offers solutions that are tied to their mission rather than somebody who is like an extreme specialist at one particular thing. Because without going too much into it, the one who is mission focused, they understand the government's needs a lot better. And I go into a lot more of that. And I didn't want to get into that in this video, but in my masterclass, we talk about the old rules, and then I give you bullets, like literally tell you what it is for what those new rules are that I highly recommend you start operating like on yesterday if you're an existing base business. And really what happens is, say a company's been around for 12 years, okay? The boss is gonna allocate one person, okay? Timmy, okay? Timmy is really excited because Timmy gets to start the GovCon division for his company. Just Timmy. And then what happens is the owner is going to keep Timmy on a very short leash, not give him really any resources to do his job, but expect Timmy to like just start bringing it in, give Timmy some goals, and hey, we should win like, I don't know, $1 million by the end of the year in service contracts. Because we've been doing this for 15, and say we average like 5 to 10 million a year in our existing base business. So 1 million, 20% goal, like should be no problem for Timmy. Timmy is our best guy. Timmy is VP business development. Okay, he shouldn't be no problem for him. What happens is these assumptions come in, and all of a sudden Timmy's not able to find the stuff the way that he would normally find it and quote on it and bid it in the commercial space, because those assumptions are being brought in. And then Timmy starts trying to tell the boss that, and then, you know, who's the boss? What do we want to name the boss? What's a boss name? I don't want to be, you know, make anybody, if this is your name, I don't want to make you feel bad. We'll just say George. I don't care. So George has got a little hair on the sides here. He's been in it for a while. George is handcuffing Timmy. And Timmy's telling George, hey, this ain't working. Like, this is different. It's not like we do in the commercial space. And so what George is going to start, he's going to start, what do existing business owners do to solve problems? Because they value their time so highly, what do? They start throwing money at stuff. So they're like, okay, let's get this, you know, I heard about this. There was a webinar. We need to get the software. We're not finding the bids because we need to get the software. And so what? It's 10K a year. That's fine. Or 2K a year. It's fine. It's a write-off. No big deal. We'll get the software. So Timmy gets the software, starts doing it because it's because the root issue is the assumption, the what and the how. Software doesn't solve it. So Timmy reports back to George, hey man, this ain't working either. Boss is like, getting a little nervous here, Timmy. You're supposed to be my guy. Maybe we need to bring on a writer. Let's bring on a proposal writer. Throw some more money at that. Maybe $1,000 per bid on the low end, by the way. And then when that doesn't work, we start getting this little back and forth loop going on. George, the boss, keeps getting less happy and more sad face. Coincidentally, the same sad face from the old rules, right? That's why it's old rules, sad face. And he says, okay, let's get on a GSA schedule. If he makes it that far, because at this point, he's already feeling pretty disheartened. GSA schedule, 25K. We need to get on that. Spend the next 6, 9, 12 months getting on that. And then when that still doesn't solve the problem, it falls on Timmy's head. Maybe Timmy loses his job. Maybe he just loses his pride. They close down the GovCon division of ABC LLC. Timmy kind of tries to, save his pride, but you know what? He was doomed from the get-go, all because of the old rules. If they had followed the new rules from the get-go, none of this would have happened, and they would have been able to start bidding, improving, and winning contracts for this business. Timmy would have been a hero, okay, for the business, and he would have been able to take the whole division, and basically write his own ticket. So it's kind of a facetious example, but it's actually very real. There's some very real elements inside of that I've witnessed many times. I've consulted on many times. And hey, if the business owner, if this is you, listen, the biggest bottleneck in every small existing business is the owner. So if you're having somebody, if you have a Timmy, don't give him the golden handcuffs and follow the new rules. Get rid of the old rules, okay? Don't be too stubborn, okay? And you can find those new rules in my masterclass. I'll link it down below. Highly recommend it.